This episode of Worktapes is sponsored by Duke Timeless Spirits. Duke Spirits is blending modern technology and old school technique by aging their bourbons and ryes in the finest French oak wine barrels from 1932. And listen, I have some firsthand experience drinking their whiskey. It's sweet on the nose and the palate, but there's no burn going down. The spice, the cherry notes, the subtle citrus tones lingers really nice. Duke Spirits offers high-end, well-crafted bourbons, ryes, and tequilas. My favorite being the Extra Añejo Tequila Founders Reserve. Go to dukespirits.com to learn more. And remember, kids, you gotta be 21 to drink alcohol. Never compromise. Drink responsibly. dukespirits.com. Welcome to Worktapes. This is a podcast where we tear apart songs. Why was the song written? What's it about? What's the context and emotion behind it? Where were you at the time? What were you going through? How did certain lines come to you? What's the inspiration? How long did it take to write? I'm Brandon Carswell, and I'm fascinated with songwriting and how songs are built from the ground up. It's easy to hear a full production song on the radio and dismiss its origin story. I want to hear the rough draft of a song, or the work tapes. I want to explore the very beginning of how songs that move us and make us move are born.
Born to change, designed to evolve, planted to grow, programmed to solve mysteries. When the stars are alive and the world is flat, let's work it out over a fireside chat. Let time freeze. The night feels strange and it sure did like it.
That's how you say it, Cheyenne Medders.
As if it's plural, yeah.
Medders.
Some people say Medder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Medders.
Nothing else matters.
That's right.
Dun.
I haven't heard that one yet.
What?
That's great.
Well, it's because I'm listening to a lot of Metallica right now.
Good,
With my kids. Well, the car that I have doesn't have Bluetooth.
Mm-hmm. So you got CDs?
I have CDs in the car.
Praise
and my sons are Metallica fiends right now. So we have like
Oh, it's so interesting.
3,
How old are your sons again? You probably told me.
10 and 13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
So a lot of Black Album right now. Like,
Yeah. I wish I knew. I know some of their singles,
Yeah.
but I haven't taken the dive. I don't
Yeah.
know their albums. I don't know what's
Okay.
on the Black Album.
you would know at least
Adventures Await.
Yeah, you would know at least 4 songs
Yeah.
just from radio.
Yeah.
Whatever. So like first few songs are the ones.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So nothing else matters. It was just right on the tip
Love
of my
it.
tongue.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're already going. So thanks for being here, man.
You're welcome.
Welcome.
I'm glad to be here.
Welcome to Worktapes, everyone. Cheyenne Medders is with us today,
I am.
and we're going to talk about songs and whatever you want to talk about.
Okay.
You good?
Yep. I'm
All
good.
right. It's a beautiful day in Nashville. Why don't we start and you can tell us kind of where you're from,
Okay.
how you got into music.
Yeah.
Just some of your backstory so we can know who you are.
Yeah. I'm the oldest of 3 brothers, born in, well, I guess technically born in Dalton, Georgia, but raised in Resaca, Georgia, which is in the vicinity of Calhoun, Georgia. And if you've never heard of any 3 of those, we're about half hour south of Chattanooga, Tennessee, or an hour north of Atlanta. So I grew up there. Some of my family was into music. My dad is a songwriter. His first cousin, Monty Powell, is a songwriter and a producer. So I was always kind of listening to music on the radio and stuff that my dad would write, stuff that Monty would write. My dad's name is Cheyenne Medders, by the way, if you want to look him up. When I was 11 or 12, I didn't know how to play any instruments, but I started kind of messing around with just writing songs, and I would kind of fantasize about, I didn't know how to play guitar, so in my mind, I dreamed up like I would invent a guitar that I would just slide a box up and down the neck, and it would do the chords for me.
Oh, cool.
I never had to do that, thankfully, because when I was 12, I just started learning how to play guitar.
They have those things now.
Yeah, dang it. I should have patented that. Anyway, yeah, it could be a little AI box, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's stupid. The magic is in the fingers, and that's where God put it. So
that's right.
That's what I like to do. Anyway, yeah, when I was 12, I started, I guess, discovering music of my own generation, because growing up, we'd listen to either oldies or classic rock or folk. My dad was into Dylan and Springsteen and stuff like that. But I started hearing like Green Day or Weezer on the radio and just fell in love with like that kind of stuff. This was mid-90s. And I had a cousin my same age, still do. He's still my same age. I don't know how, we've just been neck and neck this whole time. So we started a band with my friend Blake, who actually knew like a couple of chords and owned a guitar. And we didn't know how to play. I mean, he knew a little bit, I guess, but that didn't matter. We just wanted to make noise and get famous. And, the chords would come, the skills would come. But yeah, when I was 12 and 13, I just started a band with my cousin and friend. And then later my younger brothers joined. And I've just kind of been doing that ever since. I mean, I went to college and just wrote songs all through college. I didn't go to school for music or anything. I went to college because that's kind of what we were funneled into a little bit, like if you have the ability to make good grades, you should go to college, instead of working construction or learn how to work on cars, which now I would rather know how to do that stuff, useful skills. Anyway, I'm not just, knocking college because college is great, for a lot of situations. But basically, I just kind of wrote songs all through college. And then right out of college, I moved here to Nashville because my cousin that I mentioned, Monty Powell, he's had a lot of success in country music. And he had a home studio in his house here in Nashville, and he let me make a key to it when I moved, so when he was out of town, out on writing trips and things, I could just go in there and just record. Yeah. Because from age 17, I went from just wanting to play rock and roll to wanting to make records because I heard a record and I fell in love with the sounds on that record, and it made me want to do, not just sing and play, but also use the studio, right? That kind of thing.
Yeah. So you were kind of self-taught as far as studio goes.
Yeah. And people would show me things, right. I wish I had sought out, when I was first in town, I wish I had tried to be somebody's protege or something, or like learn from people. I feel like I isolated myself a little too much. Yeah. Now, some good came from that because I could just sit there and do whatever, right. And just figure things out.
Do you
But
feel
also,
like you isolated because you were writing?
No, I felt like kind of, what's the expression? Like you go from being like a decent sized fish in a small pond to moving to Nashville. And it's like, I didn't want to show my hand that
Right.
you know, like, because in college, I would play shows and a lot of people would come out and I was like the guy that played music, but here, I didn't want to seem like a novice.
Okay. Like you didn't feel like you were good enough yet or something to like, or maybe it's imposter syndrome or something.
Maybe it's like a blend of all that. I don't know if I've ever really put my finger on it.
Yeah.
It was maybe a little pride too, like I can
Nashville
figure this
doesn't know what
out.
it's got.
I can, I kind of took the long cut around maybe.
Yeah.
Like I had this idea in my head early on that I could, I don't know if it's like cutting corners or whatever, but I was just convinced that in the studio I could make anything sound like anything with EQ or something like that. Like without learning where to put the mic or like, what the room sounds like. I had the hierarchy all backwards. I was just like, I'll just go on the computer and just learn how to fix all this stuff.
Right. Yeah.
And then now I'm like, whoa, there's a much more pure, easier way.
Yeah. There's an art to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting to me because the EQ thing is probably good, for a demo. If you're going to track something you just wrote, you can fix a lot of things.
Oh,
like that,
you can. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. You definitely can.
Making a record, figuring out the room, mic placement, all of that stuff is super interesting and important.
Yeah.
To get the sound you want to get.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. So you said you started writing songs when you were young.
Yeah.
And you moved to Nashville to do that? Was that part of the plan, or did you have a band, or what was going on?
I was not aspiring to be like a co-writer, who was writing hits. I wanted to be a band, really, like a band with my brothers and, just kind of do my own thing. And then later, as I met people and started kind of branching out, I did start helping people write songs and producing other people. And I found that I really enjoy both. I love digging into my own craft and releasing my own music, and I love helping people work on their records and their songs. And I love going out on tour. So, and a lot of my heroes do the same thing.
Yeah.
So I can look at people that, like Daniel Lanois, big time producer who does his own thing and then produces records for other people, or Buddy Miller or whoever.
Right.
There's a lot of folks that are like, they're making that work,
Yeah.
They have all this stuff exploding out of them, and they're the vehicle for some of it.
Right.
And then they help other people.
Yeah.
Do their thing. Yeah.
What kind of stuff were you doing with your brothers? You said you had a band with them?
Yeah. It kind of evolves like, you watch Spinal Tap, and in the 60s, they were like a flower child band. And, they were maybe doo-wop before that. So yeah, we had our kind of No Doubt rancid ska punk phase. We had, I got really into Wilco. So we were kind of like, rock, Americana, sort of Americana adjacent, yet experimental alternative rock. And I don't really feel like I've left that necessarily.
No. Yeah.
It's, I'm definitely a multi-genre, guy. We made one full-length record as the brother band, just called the Medders.
Okay.
Nothing else. Medders.
Nothing else matters.
And it was just called the Medders, and it was 10 songs. Yeah, kind of, if you listen to the first song, it's very, kind of a slow, heavy Americana, like Neil Young sort of vibe, I guess. It's got a harmonica. But then there, it gets kind of experimental in there too.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've had people say, not recently, but a long time ago, like, maybe stick to this lane.
Yeah.
Which maybe that kind of makes sense, but
yeah. That is always interesting to me when, like you said, you're multi-genre kind of guy. I feel like I'm the same way. Mm-hmm. But then people will kind of gravitate to one thing that you write or that you put out or whatever.
Yep.
And then they don't understand why you won't just do that forever.
Yeah.
And I get it. But it's not really, I don't know, maybe you can speak to that because it's not, I'll find myself listening to all kinds of albums and being like, I want to be in this band too.
Yeah.
Or I want to do this kind of music. All like,
yeah.
We were just talking about Metallica. I would love to be in a band like Metallica.
Yeah.
That'd be so much fun. But I also like writing, like love to be in a band like the Everly Brothers.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Totally two opposite ends of the musical world. And I want both. I want all of it.
Yeah, I kind of do too. And I think that's fine. Of course it's fine. You don't need permission to do any of this stuff, really. It's just, it's inside and, people are going to listen to it or not.
Right.
But I think maybe the trouble comes from, the fear of being judged or, I'll tell you what comes out of that is just hundreds of songs sitting on your hard drive and never getting released.
Right.
And it's not just fear of what other people are going to think. It's like maybe fear of not being able to work on it anymore, or just, I don't even know if it's fear. It's just whatever that phantom is that causes us not to finish things and put them out,
You've kind of convinced yourself it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I guess.
And the thing that people respond to matters for some reason more. And maybe that's part of it. I mean, I'm the same. I've got songs for days that I don't know will ever see the light of day.
Yeah.
I like most of them,
Well, maybe we just need to take the pressure off ourselves. Not ask ourselves like, oh, is this going to be popular? Is this going to be a hit? Is this going to move the needle? But just do it, just draw your picture and hang it on the fridge. And, the people who like it are going to look at it or listen to it or.
Yeah. And that the amount of people, it can be one person. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It could be a million people, but you got to put it out to get to the next thing.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's the thing that is easy to preach and hard to practice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would even argue that these days we should be putting as much out as possible.
I think so.
For several reasons.
Yeah.
One being, why not? Because it's easy to do now. It's easy to release music.
It is.
It's hard to get listeners. It's easy to release it. So if it's hard to get it and it's easy to release it, just put as much out as possible. So then you can be found easier.
Right.
And you don't know what's going to resonate.
And younger people who kind of don't have all this music industry baggage, that's what they're doing, because, and they're not, well, I mean, I don't know what they're not doing, but they will just release a video in their kitchen or something and that'll blow up, if people resonate with it.
Right.
And that's cool. That's cool.
It's great.
Like, you know, they'll take the audio from the video and just put that on Spotify, you know, and just have that. And then, you know, and then the resources will find them to make a record when the time is right. But, you know, none of this should stop us just from creating and sharing and sharing, because nobody cares, you know. I mean, nobody's going to decide they don't like you, you know, because you put out a song. I mean, unless if it offends them or so, but if you put out a song and they don't, they're not aware of it, or they hear it and it doesn't change their life, you know, you're not going to become their enemy or anything. Right. Yeah. You know, people don't have those kind of, you know, we're not the center of the universe.
Well, even if we do write a song that's offensive to someone, it doesn't mean you won't find a certain niche of crowd that
of course
goes along with it with you. Yeah. That's fine too. So either way, just put your songs out.
But I was just saying, you know, like in what universe, you know, I mean, am I afraid of like a 2-star review in Rolling Stone or something like that's, you know, if it would be, that would be on a different level, you know, like if I were releasing things that was getting that kind of attention, you know, I feel great. I would feel great about that.
Yes. Yeah. Which kind of leads into, you, released a record this past year.
Yes. And I felt really good about getting that out.
It's great.
Thank you. It's I went ahead and decided it, you know, it's 5 songs, EP length. I just decided that this would be side A of the full length. You know?
I love that idea. I've seen a couple of other bands do that, where it's like, well, we've got these songs, let's just not make a full length, we'll do 2 EPs. Which, I mean, in some ways I think is smarter right now, just in keeping people's attention. Yeah. Because so many people, I mean, I'm a record person, I'll listen all the way through, but some people don't do that. They get tired after 3 songs or 5 songs or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on your environment a lot of times, or like, you know, if I'm driving to Arkansas all by myself, you know, then I'll put on a record. Right. Yeah. Or if I'm, you know, just kind of depends on what I'm doing. Exactly. Like if I'm riding in the car with my 9-year-old son, he's like, Sunflower, play Sunflower, play it again. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Because he latches on to like these big bangers, you know, and he wants to hear it over and over and over. He doesn't even listen to the outro. You know, when the second chorus is over, he's like, "Will you start it over?" Yes.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's his age.
It's so pure.
Yeah, that's great. I do that with certain songs.
Yeah. Me too.
If I'm alone and it's a song that really hits for me.
Oh yeah.
Where I'm trying to figure out how they did something.
Like sometimes if I listen to like a brand new song and it just hits, it is kind of like a drug. I'll be like, yeah, give me that a few more times. I want to absorb this, you know, all the hooks in this thing and just enjoy it.
There are some records that I don't get tired of. There's not very many, but I could just keep playing them over and over and over.
Oh, me too.
Just nonstop. Yeah. So when you made this record, what was it that, I mean, you've put out a lot of music, but I mean, this particular one, do you just have a bunch of songs ready, or did you specifically write for this project?
I always have a lot of songs going. Yeah. And so, you know, on my computer, I probably have so many text edit documents that are just lists of like potential, you know, like track listings of records. And, you know, eventually I had a group of recordings that I had kind of built at home, and then I had this idea, okay, I'm going to go get a drummer and then maybe get a couple other people to add things to it, and these would sound good together. Yeah. You know, and I was kind of, you know, there's this long pendulum swing of like, in 2019 and 2020, I was doing like a lot of like in the box synthesizer programming stuff. Like if you listen to something like Waves of Onyx or Sapphire Up, And then like the pendulum swung for me back to, okay, I'm going to do a record that could be an Americana record, you know, like maybe I'll let the Americana people hear this.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's kind of what this is a bit. And I built it, you know, I programmed a beat and then just played the songs, and then later hired a drummer, great drummer named Dom Billett, who put drums on it, and then a really great fiddle player, and then my wife sang on it. And I think that's all the people that are on the record, I think.
Yeah.
It's just me and Dom. And
so you played a majority of the instruments.
I played all the guitars and basses and, you know, keyboard sounds and stuff like that. And a lot of the extra percussion. And
it's really great. I really do like it.
Thank you.
Before we jump, because the song we're going to talk about is on that record, there was another song we were going to talk about, and I heard the song "Oh My Goodness," and for whatever reason, it just stood out to me. It did that thing to me, so I had that song on repeat for a few days, and wanted to discuss it with you. Before we jump into talking about that song, you mentioned before that you, when you moved to town, you weren't looking to do co-writes. You just kind of fell into doing that. But one of the co-writes that you did with Secret Sisters,
oh yeah,
is one of my favorite songs on that record.
Which one?
Damage.
Oh, Damage. Yeah, that's the first. I think the first song we finished together.
It's so good.
Thank you.
I remember when that record came out and going through it, and that was a song that I just loved. Everything, the progression, it just like, that was one of those where I was like, I could do that. I could do something like this.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it resonated hard with me. So
cool. Thank you.
I just wanted to point that out because, hey, they're fantastic.
Yes, they are. They're
another
planet.
Yeah. When I was prepping for this episode, I was like, oh, he has a co-write with them. I want to see what it is. And it was that one. So congrats on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love that song. So if anyone listening, go listen to, I forgot the name of that record now.
It's called You Don't Own Me Anymore.
Yes. And the song is called The Damage, and it's very good.
Yeah.
Very good. That whole album is very good.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Do you want to speak about co-writing at all? Do you want to, like, do you enjoy it? Is it something that
I love it?
Because some people love it and some people don't.
I love it so much because especially if you're writing with an artist who's like, okay, I'm going to sing this. Mm-hmm. You can really get into their world and just, you know, bring everything you have to that, and the pressure's off. Like, you know, like I don't have to deliver this. I don't have to sing this and make it believable, you know?
Yeah.
We get to kind of, you know, we have an artist, we have a vehicle for that. And I love that. And then I also love getting together with people. Like if I'm writing something like commercial country or something like that, I can kind of step outside what my voice would naturally do.
Right.
And you know, just, it's just fun.
Yeah.
You know, you can get a little fun with it, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, I love writing.
Is it easy
kind
for
of funny songs, you know,
yeah,
redneck songs or, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah. Is it easy for you to change lanes as far as, and what I mean is like, let's say you're doing something like Secret Sisters, and then you go into more commercial country, like you just mentioned. Is that a hard pivot for you?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. You just fall into whatever's in the room.
I think I'll get excited about, you know, if I'm working with somebody and I really like their music and I like them and I think they're talented, and I'll just get excited about
right,
the potential of what we might do, you know, and
yes,
just so that excitement helps me just like, let's just do something fun and interesting. You know,
Yeah,
we don't have to
figure it
bang
out.
our head against the wall. You know,
Yeah,
even
and I think that's the thing where I fall apart with some co-writes is only if it is a situation, and this has only happened to me a couple of times, where it's like, we need this kind of song and we need it by this day.
Yeah,
or
that's
whatever.
hard.
And I'm like, ooh, that's a lot of pressure.
If you're writing for sync or something.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't want to write like someone else.
Yeah.
I don't want that pressure. The timeline's fine.
Yeah.
I just don't want to write like, hey, we need a song like On the Road Again by Willie Nelson. It needs to be close, but don't rip it off.
Yeah, that's, I don't, that's almost like a coloring book or something.
Yeah.
It's,
well, with AI now, I think, sync and all that they can just go prompt an AI.
if you're just looking for a mood,
I guess,
sure. Yeah. Get the computer to do it, I guess. I don't know. But if
save money too,
if you're looking for something meaningful,
right.
See, I'm excited about AI because it's going to make people appreciate human music even more.
That's a very good perspective to have on it.
And the people that just are already just kind of imitating or just, providing, moods similar to what's already out there. Maybe people don't need to waste their time doing that anyway.
Right.
Maybe people need to express what's really inside because that's always going to be different than the computer.
Right.
Than an algorithm. It's not about who can do something better or a computer can hit a note more accurately than me. Of course. It's a computer. That doesn't matter.
But there's also something about
a computer would never write friends in low places.
Yeah.
Why
not? Why not?
But the first verse of that song, it wouldn't choose to present a song in that way. Even the first word, blame, you already know kind of what the song, there's somebody's to blame. Blame it all. Everything. On my roots. Blame it all on my roots. I showed up. So now somebody has wrecked somebody's entire world just by showing up. And it's because of where they came from, how they came up, their roots. In boots. I showed up in boots. Are these cowboy boots? Are these steel-toed boots? What kind of boots are we talking about here? And ruined. You ruined something just by showing up in boots. And ruined your black tie affair. Just that first line in Friends in Low Places is so brilliant. It doesn't read like just a mood or a pastiche of country. And I know computers are going to get better and better and better and better.
Right.
And maybe they'll wake up someday and start to feel. And when they do, if they do, then they're living beings and it's just a different thing altogether. But maybe that'll never happen. I don't know.
But it's very interesting to me that the whole AI conversation, people are afraid of it and whatever, and some people love it. But it's getting its information from us.
Yeah. Oh, it could write a song in the vein of Friends in Low Places.
Sure.
Because that already exists.
No, I love what you're saying, and I agree.
It wouldn't come up with
100%.
And it wouldn't, like Trisha Yearwood, she's in love with a boy. A computer would never talk about the chickens pecking the ground. You know, like Katie's sitting on her old front porch watching the chickens peck the ground.
But they might rip off a line.
They could rip it off.
Totally.
And people, playlists are full of people that are ripping things off, and that I'm not trying to be combative or anything, but just
We're going to war
basically,
with AI.
basically music that's just like, it's nothing new. It's just kind of just more mood. It's,
Right.
just more mood, to fit nicely in a mood based playlist. Computers are going to get great at that.
I really want to do a whole episode. I mentioned this. Sorry, everyone. I've mentioned this the last few episodes. But I would love to do like a panel conversation on AI songwriting. Mm-hmm. And I love everything you just said. And I think that's an important perspective to have. And it kind of goes into like a conversation about, like you said before, a computer can make a perfect note, whereas I cannot. No matter how perfect my note is, it's still imperfect because I'm human.
We like it better because
that's where I'm going with it. A perfectly tuned guitar still doesn't.
Sounds like a Casio.
It's robots. Yeah. Yes, it's too nice.
Yeah,
and that's not real life.
Yeah,
too nice is not.
You might
real.
as well just like, sleep on a cloud of fluff all day and never bump into anything.
Right, you can't.
We want to engage the imperfections of the cosmos.
Yeah, people get put out of place if their house is too dirty, but a house that's too clean isn't lived in.
The most CPU intensive plugins are designed to put the imperfections back into your digital recordings.
Right. So
the wow and the flutter on a tape simulator.
Yeah. Exactly. Just go back to the 80s. Let's just go back to real tape. I love that. I could talk about that all day. But we don't have time for that. So let's get into talking about Oh My Goodnes. What we'll do is listen to the work tape real quick, and we'll come back and see why you wrote this thing.
Okay.
Cool.
I was born to change, designed to evolve, planted to grow, programmed to solve mysteries. Yeah, the stars are alive and the world is flat. There's a ghost in your language, monkey in my hat, and the moon is cheese. Night feels strange and I sure do like it. Thinking about heaven, gonna hitchhike it with a light bulb thumb. I got ideas not fit to say, people ain't listening anyway, so here I come. Nobody's prepared to see your beauty, to feel your hunger, to taste your goodness. When I was younger, I tried to build a hill in the ocean, a city on the hill, and a future in the sky. I could kick back here and laugh forever at the wide open words of Brother Feather and Sister Fire. Been fixed on flames of a heart baptism, merged like a light going through a prism in reverse. Back to the alpha, straight to the king, a weary phoenix, looking for something to break the curse. Nobody's prepared to see your beauty, to feel your hunger, to taste your goodness. Nobody's prepared to see your beauty, to feel your hunger.
love this song. The work tape is interesting to me too.
Yeah, me too, because I haven't heard it in a long time.
Yeah.
And then
When did you write this song?
I think 2018.
Okay. So it's not that old, but
It was a few years before I finished the recording. Yeah.
But it sounds pretty close to what you landed on for the record as far as form and all of that.
Yes.
And I think if I remember, there's some lyrical changes.
Yep.
Yep. Which is always fun to me to hear a work tape after hearing the finished product and going, I wonder why the writer took these lines and made them different. So why don't we just start with what led to writing this? Like, what was the idea, I guess, behind this song?
I'm trying to think what the seed of it was, and the first bit I came up with. It's almost always, it's not always, but a lot of times, the guitar part, because I spend a lot of my life with a guitar in my hand, just kind of picking around,
right?
And then I just love those chords, I think, and the guitar, the little melodies I play. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
So I was probably just kind of jamming on that and just kind of singing nonsense over it. Let's see, the first line. Oh, I think I was trying to juxtapose like creation, evolution, and I was born to change, designed to evolve. It's been a long time since I've written these lyrics, but I was probably thinking about this idea that that God makes us beings that are supposed to change and supposed to grow, and even the whole cosmos is supposed to evolve. Like those aren't ideas that are opposed to each other. Just like you plant a seed and it grows into a flower or into a watermelon or whatever. So I think I was just kind of kicking around on that. Born to change, designed to evolve, planted to grow, programmed to solve mysteries.
Yeah, I love that line.
And I just liked, I wasn't trying to like dig too deeply into it. I just kind of liked those ideas altogether. And then the second line was just like, I think I just tried to come up with something weird that rhymed, and then later I changed it. I think that's the one I changed. Born to change. The stars are alive, and the world is flat. Yeah, I wanted to get in this idea of like some people believe the earth is flat, which I don't. But I do think it's an interesting concept, like in some dimensional space, maybe there's a way that the world we experience is kind of flat, but we're called to live in a higher dimension. So, I wanted to throw in these fringe ideas, like maybe the stars being alive or the world is flat. I think the first iteration of lyrics said something like, "There's a ghost in your language and a monkey in my hat."
Yes.
Which the reason I changed it is because it just sounded too circus to me. Like,
but I like some of that about your writing.
Yeah.
Is like your lyrics can be, I listened to a few songs this week and I appreciated the fact that some of your lyrics are really playful. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Like they're thought through.
Yeah.
But you're not afraid to make them, or maybe I should say you're not taking yourself so seriously that you won't use a fun idea.
Right.
Whereas some writers, and I'm probably one of them, want to be so mysterious about every lyric,
Yeah.
And so I like that. I'm interested why you changed it, but I guess you're
it's
saying
part of it's like, I didn't want this feeling, this monkey on my back, I guess.
Right.
I don't know. And there's so many lyrics to jam in, so many syllables, maybe just too many syllables. Because what did I end up on? Like, the stars are alive and the world is flat. Let's talk about it without the music going. It's hard to like something about a fireside chat.
Yeah, figure it out.
Because I kept thinking about how, like, one of my favorite things to do is when I get together with my college buddies, and we'll sit around a fire,
right?
You know, even at, you know, now
solve the world.
Yeah, and just, you know, talk forever, you know, just about the wildest ideas.
Yeah,
and so that image is kind of where that came from.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, thank you.
My favorite line in this song goes, "The night feels strange, and I sure did like it. Thinking about heaven, gonna hitchhike it with a light bulb thumb."
Yeah, that's my favorite lyric in the song too. Thank you. Yeah, it's that feeling, like every now and then you'll get this feeling like anything's possible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's kind of a strange feeling, but you sure do like it. You know, it's like, I think that's how we're supposed to feel a lot of the time, is that just the space around you is pregnant with so much potential.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that Genesis idea, you know, the spirit hovered over the deep waters, you know, like I think the deep waters means like the endless potential of creation,
right.
You know, just anything is possible. And so, yeah, that idea, and then the light bulb thumb is kind of, I just thought that was really, that just kind of, I don't know, sprang in my head, and I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. You know, like it's like you're sticking your thumb out, but it's like E.T. because it's glowing.
Right. You're hitchhiking to heaven, which is another interesting idea. And then you add the light bulb thumb part. It just paints an interesting.
Right.
I would actually like to see that in a painting. That whole line right there in a painting.
Maybe that should be the album cover once yeah, I don't know.
That'd be cool.
For the full length, maybe.
I got an artist that could do it for you.
Oh, cool.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Let's talk.
But yeah, I love this song. I love your writing. You're doing a side B. When is that going to be out?
I'm hoping soon. I went ahead and texted the mastering engineer and was like, can you master side B in, I don't know what I said, September or October or something. So basically there are a couple songs that I want strings on.
Okay.
Which means money.
Yeah.
And, you know, scheduling the players and all that. And then, you know, then it's done, you know,
right.
Get it mixed. And then
I was wondering why you charged me $12,000 to be on this episode. So strings are expensive.
Yeah.
But they're so.
Maybe I should try AI strings.
They're worth it.
They are worth it. I don't want
it.
AI strings.
No.
One of the songs, I'm actually going to re-release a song I've already released. Because I added drums to it. And, you know, it's the same recording, just an updated version of it. So I'm kind of excited about that.
I do that.
Like a long time ago, I would have been like, no, I can't do that. Well, why not?
It's a new world also.
George Lucas did it.
Yeah. And
I don't like his new Star Wars, but, you know.
Taylor Swift did it.
Yeah. Well, she re-recorded everything so she could own it.
Yeah, and re-released it. But, you know, I think that it's fine. I think that if you have a song, I kind of struggle with that too, but if you had songs that, like I put out some songs in the early 2000s as streaming was picking up.
Yeah.
Steam. And those songs didn't get any traction. And so now I'm like, well, I'm going to put them back out under my name, because I did a project with my brother and we made a record, and those songs didn't get the traction I wanted them to get, or at least the potential traction. They didn't have a chance because the record never came out, and this and that and whatever. And so now I'm putting them out, and they're the same recordings.
Yeah.
And I
new
feel
mixes or just the same,
same mixes,
same mixes, everything. Cool. Just
yeah. And so I'm just releasing them.
Cool.
Slowly.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. And I think it's fine. It's for me.
People do it with books and movies.
Yeah.
You know?
For me, it's more of a personal thing. And I could go, well, you know, the people that liked our band back then are going to recognize what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, who cares? Because the people that liked it are going to like it again. And then new people are going to be like, oh, look at this new song that he's written 20 years ago.
There's even this, that reminds me, this project that my brothers and I are kicking around, where it's a country thing, kind of in the, you know, the golden era, late 80s, early 90s country vein. Because our dad had a publishing deal. He wrote a bunch of songs, really good songs. You know, a lot of them, you know, never got cut by an artist. A couple of them did, but we're thinking like, we should do these songs and release them. And like a couple of the demos are so good that I don't know if we're going to do this, but I actually thought about, we should just, you know, under the band name, just release the demo.
Yeah.
You
That'd
know,
be cool.
with my, you know, 32-year-old dad singing on it.
That'd be awesome.
You know?
Yes.
I don't know who owns those demos.
Yeah. Well,
that's
the trick, I guess.
I have to
right?
talk to whoever runs the publishing company now. I don't know.
Right.
Or not, you know, just wait till they send me a letter, you know, and then we'll work it out.
I love that idea. I think it's great. If there was a way to figure out how to do like a show or an album or podcast or something on things that never happened, like that got close but never happened.
Yeah.
Like songs that were shelved, records that were never put out.
Mm-hmm.
And then somehow we can find those things and release them.
Yeah.
That's always been, I just don't know what the, how that would work, but it would be really interesting to me.
Yeah.
To do something like that, which is essentially what you're doing with your dad's songs.
Yeah.
You know, the things that never were. That's a cool idea.
I'm going to get an almond.
Get an almond. What are you doing right now? So live, are you playing your own songs? You're playing with other people? You're doing all of it?
Earlier this year, I was playing bass for Sam Outlaw in Europe. And the guitar player, Mike Dunton, is also an artist. He's great. And we took turns opening the shows. So we had our merch out there and everything in Europe, and that was a lot of fun. And then I've been playing in my hometown, back in Calhoun, Georgia.
Okay.
So, and then I play bass and guitar for a few people. But yeah, I'm wanting to get the full length out, play more shows. I'm also having a baby girl in December. So,
oh, wow. Congratulations.
So live is just like, just buzzing at this level, you know, like there's a lot of stuff going on. I don't have a manager. I don't have, I don't know what the future holds, but I do want to put out a lot of music and I do want to play good shows. I also need to be home,
right.
a good bit, you know, and be a dad. And I believe that's all possible.
Of course. Yeah.
So
I'm with you.
Yeah.
You can figure it out and be close to home.
Yeah.
It's definitely, you can always put out music, but
right.
You don't have to be traveling the entire planet.
Yeah.
That's cool. And you've got 2 shows you're doing tonight, which obviously this will air after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. I'm hoping I can come see you guys because you play guitar with Austin Moody and the Neon High, and you guys are playing this week, and you guys play down in Florida quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah. That's a fun little trip. Yeah, we go down there and play on the 30A Emerald Coast area,
It was a cool show at 3rd and Lindsley.
Thank you.
Was that last?
That
one?
was fun, man.
That was a good. That was a good night.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was cool. Well, cool, man. Thanks for being here, and it's good to know you.
It's good to know you too.
We haven't known each other very long, but we just figured out we have a lot of. Well, we at least have a few mutual friends.
Yeah.
Probably a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's natural, and that's how it goes.
Yep.
So if you want to write a song, we can do that. If you want to just hang out and do whatever, we can do that.
Yeah, let's write a little bit. I have to prep some of the songs for my late show tonight, sometime this afternoon. But yeah, let's pick some guitars.
Let's do it, man. Cool. Thanks so much.
All right.
When we're gone, what will be left behind? Beside trust funds or coin collections, we live on through our stories. The legends and legacies that tell of our greatest successes, our wildest ideas, our biggest failures. And what better vehicle for a story than music? Our musical heritage holds many truths about our humanity, and perhaps even more mysteries.
I mean, my whole thing here is basically a theory. There's nothing here that I can prove or disprove.
Join me in my quest for answers as I explore untold stories.
Yeah, breathe a little bit of life back into Dial Songs. That's my contribution to the band.
Go on unforeseen adventures.
We are getting into Unit 92.
My son Walker, this one's for you.
This is Will's handwriting.
Dive deep into conversations with some household names.
Hey, this is Amy Grant.
Hey everybody, it's Vince Gill.
Hello, this is Ben Folds.
And peer into dusty corners of the internet.
I am in full belief that Pink Floyd intentionally wrote their album, Dark Side of the Moon, to line up with The Wizard of Oz.
Hear from those whose hearts define what it means to be human.
That music, it don't discriminate. It's one of the things I know that bring people together.
If you put a smile on a kid's face, then you've done a day's work.
And those who knew the stakes of their calling.
My first thought was, oh, this is 50 grand. This is worth 50 grand.
And they heard me sing, and they said, well, wait a minute, we're getting ready to do this Scooby-Doo thing, get him.
Join the journey as I see how far my questions can get me. What is the power that music holds to do this kind of thing?
It's like a scientist, I don't really know why this works all the time, but every time I do it, it works.
But when we search for answers, we rarely find the ones we expect. And sometimes we realize that we don't need an answer at all. From Wise Company Productions, I'm Jonas Litton, and this is Stories and Sounds.
Stories and sounds. Oh, everywhere you turn, there's a dream in a making. Any step you take, there's a history waiting. Sing, where are you now? Oh, 'cause we're ready for your stories and sounds.
Available wherever you listen to your favorite sounds.